Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is part two of a two-part recap. If you're wondering where part one was, well, go check in the feed and be sure to subscribe so that way you always get your episodes. But enough of that. Let's get right back into the episode.
So Fasoon again is like, oh, nice. Technically, everything was cooked properly. While I enjoyed the taste, there's just something missing. God. So Lana is doing her spetzel, and she's like, I'm doing this spetzel smaller than normal. It's going to be like butterfly risotto because they're cuter. So, yeah, that's it. That's why.
Tiny spetzel. So, hold me closer, tiny spetzel. German heritage.
So Tristan is like, he's saying that he's going to add some trout roe because usually trout roe comes in existence in the springtime during a breeding and migration. So this is a story of a trout roe that was hatched in my food because of springtime. I'm like, okay. So Vinny is like, well, I'm getting down to the wire here. I just want to make sure the dumplings are cooked through. And it's a last minute ditch to get everything on the plate. And some of them are sticking. And so that's adding the time that I have. And basically, he doesn't get to put a little radish garnish. He tries to do the Katiana thing, which is the little like radish stamp. But he's not Katiana, so he's not able to do it very well. And he only gets like 2 of them on the plate.
But it is nice to see him rip off somebody besides Nomad. So that's good. I was proud of him.
It was nice to see him opening up his oeuvre of rip-offs.
Yeah. So now it's springtime, and Gail's like, oh, well, I'm missing a radish. Great. Great.
So that's the same thing every rabbit says every time you walk by.
Well, hey, maybe missing a radish, but at least you still got a rash.
Wow. You may be missing a radish, but your jorts seem to be in oversupply. Seem to really trying to say you went hog wild and dress barn. I'm sorry, I'm just totally disoriented right here. Rock's not talking to me anymore.
Rock broke up with me and I can't stop saying dress barn.
He said something like, wow, congratulations on looking like you're from 2019. I was like, what's that supposed to mean? And then he just rolled his eyes and walked away.
So Tristan's like, the only time I've ever had to play with spring stuff is when I was in Sweden and Scandinavia. So this is a Caraflex cabbage. It's never been spring anywhere that you live, Tristan. Tristan's this is the first episode that Tristan's ever gotten on my nerves, but I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about at this point.
Caraflex cabbage. Yeah, how does he not get to use, you don't get to use peas? Or does he run a barbecue place in Texas? Is that his thing?
Maybe I think so, why. But it's literally spring every year. So I don't get it. And he's like, but yeah, I did also spring new potatoes with smoked lake fish. You know, I didn't waste anything, guys. Even the bones from the fish went into making the butter sauce.
Which reminds me, if you wind up choking on what should be just a normal silky butter sauce, that's because there's fish bones in it.
I know. I was thinking, I don't think fish bones are the kind you want to use for that, right?
I have no idea.
Those
I guess if you're just like making a stock.
Those will kill you.
I'm assuming he made like a stock, like some sort of like fish stock, and then made that for the butter sauce. I'm not sure. Yeah. And then Antonio is like, "Oh, the trout roe. You know the trout roe. You know that the trout roe is really salty, don't you? Ooh, who is this person? Finally, someone shading these chef testins. Do it again, Antonio. I love that. Did you mean to add such salty roe into your butter sauce?"
And he's like, yeah, I tried to not put too much. And Antonio's like, oh, okay, thank you. Fail. That was a fail on the row. Row fail.
Row your boat gently down the get out of this competition.
Vinny, what's your dish? And he made a lamb dumpling with a morel mushroom consomme, enoki mushrooms, just raw, and some shucked English peas. I could not believe. I love that he said shucked because it's so Vinny. Like, oh, wow, you made a shucked peas? Thank you. Thank you for not giving us peas in the pod, you fuck. But I really thought he was going to say hand shucked. I thought he was going to say I did some hand shucked English peas.
With a pea soil and a virus of pea. And then he's like, well, I'm originally from New York, so it's just more of a traditional spring. It's kind of like, I think as we all know globally, that New York has the most traditional spring. So moving out into Napa Valley, you see spring items as soon as February. So I want to try to do a little bit more of a bridge. So a rich consomme going into a lighter spring item. I'm like, What does this
No.
have to do with China? But what's all that whole story about holding the panda and then you're going to serve peas and like a Napa Valley, New York hybrid Chinese? Like, what the hell is this dish?
I think that they're just making shit up. You know, on that show, Next Food Network Star, we used to watch that show a long time ago.
Of course, Susie
and
Fogelson,
the advice
icon.
to them was always like, your food has to have a story. You can't just come on and say, I'm making grilled cheese because I like grilled cheese. They'd always be like, it has to have a deep, meaningful story. And so part of the fun of it was watching these people try to come up with something TV ready. Like, oh, I'm doing this because my aunt who's dead now, then they like your grilled cheese better. If you have an aunt that's dead, they're like, yes, I loved your dead aunt grilled cheese. And that's what this show is turning into. Like, everything doesn't have to be a fucking TV answer. For fuck's sake, just make your boring ass dumpling, dude.
He should have just said, when I was 20, I went to China and I held a panda. That panda died the next day. But before it died, it said, I just want to have one more English pea. Because people don't realize that English peas are very popular with pandas in China. So this is a tribute to that panda. And this consomme represents the richness of my life after I met that panda.
There you go.
And then Kristen would have been like, you had me at consomme. You had me at consomme.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it well. But the same thing every week. Look, my mom, my grandma, my mom. All of these people, like, enough already. Enough. I'm sick of eating your fucking parents. All of you. I've had it.
I also, for some reason, it like annoyed me when he said that. Like, I grew up in New York, which has a traditional spring. I don't know why that annoyed me so much. Like, what the fuck is a traditional spring? Yeah.
It annoyed me too because he's trying to skirt the rules by doing a consomme. Everybody knows what fall, winter, spring, and summer means. It's not different. I mean, I get even Kristen was like, well, it's different in every place. No, we all know what fucking winter means. Nobody says, let's get some winter clothes ready. And they mean shorts because winter is shorter. And you know what I mean? Like, we all know what it means. Stop trying to skirt the rules. Vinny.
So Antonio's like, how did you compose the soup? And thanks ahead of time for not adding salty roe to it, Tristan. So then Vinny's like, well, basically any trim offcuts from the preparation of the farce went into the preparation of the consomme. So it's like, this is like stuffing leftovers. Anything that was trimmed that didn't get added to the stuffing is in the consomme. But I'm like, if it didn't make it into the stuffing, is it really worth even putting into the consomme? Because the stuffing has everything, basically, right?
Yeah, he's grasping. So now they start judging the dish, and Tristan's is first, and the over-seasoned salt. The roe did too much here. Okay.
Too salty.
And Antonio's like, ow, it was doing this to me. Ow, ow, punch, ow, punch, ow. I felt very, very punched by roe.
And Gail says, I find that the potato is under-seasoned. Gail, don't be mean to yourself. That's my job.
It's also overdressed, but that's another story. So Tom's like, yeah, I was going to say that. I was going to say that. And Gail's like, no salt. There is no salt on it. I mean, what the heck? And Punky's like, yeah, I was confused, but I used the sauce to my advantage and just dipped the potato in the sauce. And so then the under-seasoned potatoes became seasoned with the over-seasoned sauce, and it kind of worked out. That's Punky math.
They're like, wait, you ate the potatoes with the sauce that goes with the potatoes? That's just crazy.
That is insanity. Now, what about Vinny's dish? And Punky's just like, no, I mean, it was springy. It was a springy dish.
So Fizun's like, well, technically the dumpling was nicely made, but I was missing some components to make it complete because, yeah, I'm spring, but I don't get spring. And then Gail's like, well, there is an aggressiveness to the consomme. It had a funk to it. It's an aggressive consomme. Not happy with it.
Wow, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? So Tom's like, well, I mean, you put scrap lamb into it. I mean, that's what you're getting. You're getting scrap lamb consomme. I mean, who wants that?
Little known fact, Gail used to be a race car driver, and that's what they'd call her. Scrap lamb.
Scrap lamb consomme. Gail's like, well, I felt like it overpowered the dish. That's how I feel. So to hell with scrap lamb. That's what I say. And Kristen asks, she's like, so did you have the radishes? And Tom's like, no, I didn't. And Gail's like, I had no radish.
Or fashion sense. But that's a whole other issue. That's nothing that Vinny could have given you in the first place. And so then Antonio, he's such a dick. He goes, "Oh, you guys didn't actually get it? Yes. I love Antonio bragging about how he has radish access."
So Bailey, who's now leaning a lot on these agrodulces. Last week it wasn't technically that. What was it called last week?
I don't know.
Agua Chile
Oh, no,
is what she did last time. But she's like, I want my agrodulce to be in your face. It's a flavor bomb. It could be polarizing, and the old Bailey would have cared, but this is new Bailey, and new Bailey is giving you overpowered agrodulce. That's it.
Polarizing. Sort of like the time that Gail tried to wear a ball gown into a Dave's Hot Chicken. People had a lot of opinions about that.
So Cesar is going for bright colors, the bright yellow in corn, the bright green in the dill, the pop of the red from the tomatoes. To me, that screams summer, and I'm not seasoning anything. I'm just going to put corn. I'm not going to sweeten it at all because it's corn. Who needs it? That was a fun challenge. I connect with it because it's summer. I have a rooftop too.
Wow. He says his dish screams summer. I say it screams poor person without famous friends.
That might just be Gail. Gail, be quiet.
Who here has an Emmy? Anyone? Raise your hand. Not you, Caesar? Okay, great. Good luck cooking food for your non-Emmy winning friends.
So he presents his dish, and he's like, I grow all these things in my garden. Corn gazpacho, smoked cherry tomatoes, sperm sock. Sorry, that was the garden under my bed. Sorry.
How do you grow gazpacho? Well, the components for it. I'm still not following. Okay,
It's
thank you,
also
chef.
filled with pistachio cream and a lightly poached lobster. So they start with Caesar's dish, and Gail's like, I wish the corn was sweeter. I don't taste the true delicious sweet corn flavor.
Yep, and for me, I just wish this gazpacho were a consomme. I mean, why do you even serve another soup if it's not a consomme? That's all I gotta ask. So then they do like the tomato, but Punky is like, but don't tell me that this is a lobster dish because I'm not getting any lobster, okay? She's basically got like a tiny little piece, which is funny because we saw him taking the lobster out of the shells and there was tons of lobster, and yet I guess he only put a little bit in. So
Yeah.
they like it though. I mean, it's just... So then
Antonio's like, it's a good dish, but there's no excitement. Where's the excitement? Bring me excitement.
Don't tell Gail that. She's going to put on her best paisley. So then now it's time for Lana and Bailey. So Lana is like, so these are our sauerkraut compressed apples. The juice from the sauerkraut is like a nice pop. And she's like very excited because she can show off her German side for once. And Bailey is saying how she is finding herself. Normally she's an overthinker, but now she's just more and more clear-headed, which is that she wants to destroy everyone's palates with an aggressive agrodolce. And now she's set that mission for herself and she knows exactly how to do it.
Yeah. And Kristen's like, it's time for fall, my personal favorite season weather-wise. And Gail's like, sweater weather. Oh, Gail, please, you wear sweaters to the pool.
Sweater weather, which is, of course, we know the season when Gail eats nothing but sweaters.
Or any season, because that's when Gail's a sweater.
This is... Fall is the only season, though, where Gail's sweat smells like pumpkin spice.
See, Gail calls every season sweater weather, and we call every season with Gail paper towel weather, so you can wipe Gail's sweater off her. So Bailey's like, I saw beautiful squash and I was inspired by it. So this is agrodolce. There's honey nut, curry squash, kabocha squash, acorn, Caribbean chili, or Calabrian chili rather, crispy polenta, smoked labneh, and New Bailey. This is made with New Bailey. New Bailey.
Fazoon takes a bite. She's like, ooh la la.
Yeah.
Mon Dieu.
She literally was like, ooh.
Take me back to Montreal. I would rather listen to Alanis Morissette than eat this.
I don't like to criticize other countries, but Canada's Top Chef is actually better. You people suck. Go back to America.
So Lana's like,
I did a butternut squash spetzel, sauteed kielbasa, apples compressed with sauerkraut juice. My father's side is actually from Germany, and this is my ode to that. It's also kind of an ode to the pickle fridge I had growing up. God, I love that thing. Even with the sauce, I cooked it down a little bit and put out a little bit of beer, so it's kind of giving Oktoberfest with teeny tiny spetzel. Kind of basically like rice, spetzel rice.
So they judged the dishes, and Antonio's like, "Oh my God, Bailey's dish, my first bite. Holy cow! I got hit by a baseball bat."
And Antonio's like, I was like, what is this? All this saltiness, acidity on all these spices? It's so American.
And Tom's like, yeah, well, the agrodolce is kind of aggressive, but I like it because, I think the squash is really rich. And then you have all that fat from the fried Brussels sprouts. And then you mix it with labna. The labna cools it down. It actually kind of all works. Unlike my son, who barely works, or I guess works in air quotes, as a mixologist, I suppose. Not really a living, but that's fine.
I love that Tom's like, oh, okay, we're nearing that part of the program where every dish sucks. So I have to say something's good because otherwise it looks like we've kept 4 really shitty chefs. So, okay, or 6, how many ever there are. And so Punky's like, actually, hers is my favorite. Acidity, spice. It was very good. It was very satisfying. And Kristen's like, listen, I hear you, but this feels like a condiment, not a dish. I was like, let Punky feel her way. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then how about you just eat it as a condiment then?
Yeah. Don't tell Gail condiments aren't dishes. Otherwise, you'll have to take the spoon out of a mayonnaise jar.
Fred's like, it's very good, but I do agree there's something missing. A little bit like somebody with a tuxedo and shorts.
Oh, okay. Now I feel like you're attacking America. So,
all right. So no need to make fun of what I wore to the Emmys. Hey, we usually reserve that for Gail.
And Gail actually said, yeah, we do that a lot around here, actually, which I like. Because that's true.
Yeah.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
So then Kristen's like, okay, everyone, what did you think about Lana's spetzel dish? Not enough consomme. Am I right, everyone? No? And Punky's like, well, Lana's dish definitely reflected fall to me. I mean, it could have been a smaller dish though. There's a lot of spetzel.
It was a huge dish. And I think what they said about hers was true because they're like, yeah, there's a lot of little things. Everything's really cut up into the same size, and it just looks kind of like a big plate of, I don't want to say slop because it was more colorful, but it was just a huge dish of who knows what, and it was too much. And also Spätzle should be the Spätzle. It should be the dish with the other stuff is kind of like in it, but not the whole dish. It looked like a corn dish.
Yeah. It kind of actually reminded me of the dish that we both got in Vegas, that gnocchi that we got that was so good. But I was like, I feel like I could just tell our gnocchi was better because our gnocchi had different sizes of things in it, whereas this was just kind of it did sort of have a porridgey feel to it, right?
Yes,
it just looked like
that gnocchi was amazing. We ate at Scarpetta in Vegas, and that gnocchi was killer.
It was so good. I loved that meal. Everyone should go there.
Yeah, everything that happened in that meal was great.
I don't even remember that was really good.
That was really good. Okay, awesome. So and in case anyone's like, how the fuck did you two pay to go to? We had a friend. Who was like, I'm king of the world. It was amazing. Yeah. What a way to go, too. Just be like, I'll have that, I'll have that, I'll have 10 desserts. It's amazing.
It was delish. Yeah. So so basically they are like, meh. Tom's like, flavor wise, it's fine. But there's there's a lot of little things happening, it's just, I think it's very telling that this is a Spätzle dish and no one's mentioned Spätzle once. It's like, how do you have a Spätzle dish and the first thing you don't say is Spätzle? We're not even talking about the Spätzle. It's all about the Spätzle, baby. Well, why are we not talking about the Spätzle? We're talking about the garnish, not the Spätzle.
Where's the Spätzle discussion? So Kristen's like, yeah, she says the thing about everything being diced too small and all the same words and same sizes. And so they have to eliminate somebody. And Antonio's like, oh, shit. So let's go to the judges' table, guys. So the fuck, Ronnie. The chefs are talking back in the stew room. And Massimo's happy with his dish, but now he's going to start questioning everything because they're waiting to be judged. And Shuai's like, I got a morning note from my wife, so I felt so motivated. I felt good cooking this food today because today wasn't a day that I say, I did this for my grandmother and my mother. Today is the day I say, I did this for my grandmother and my mother after a note from my wife.
And you know what, Shuai, we also definitely noticed, not only did you have a pep in your step, but when you did have that pep in your step, there wasn't that like crunchy sound that normally comes from around your underwear region. That was nice.
The letter's still going. She's just writing it through the whole season. So now they go to judges' table, and Massimo, Shuai, and Bailey, please stay here. You won! Congratulations! You're amazing people!
So Massimo is like, I had a good cook today. We're cooking for Montreal royalty. So if 10 years ago I would have been told that I'd be in the same room as everybody that was present today, I wouldn't believe you.
And Gail's like, wow, that's great. Well, the chicken was exceptionally well cooked.
And he's like, thank you. And Antonio is saying, the balance of the vegetables, the balance of the chicken, the balance of the sauce, it's not because you're from Montreal, buddy. It's just that it was a really, really well executed dish.
He's like, and Shuai, how did the day go for you? He's like, good. Grandmother, mother, grandmother, mother and grandmother.
From home.
So it was good. Pretty
Fresh
good.
underwear. Yeah. And Tom's like, yeah, I really got a sense of how you cook. It's nice. It just seemed like a much freer dish. It sort of felt like freer in all areas. Was your ball sack area a little freer today? So I don't know. I'm getting a different vibe. You looked at the dish and they just were like so many little pieces of it. And it looked like a package. It was good. Everything was beautiful executed.
And Shuai's like, yeah, today was the first day I felt like myself making a dish. I was like, you made a turducken. I mean, come on. It's not your first day cooking like yourself. I don't believe it. So then he gets the comment that someone said that they'd remember that squash for the rest of their life. So put that in your pot and smoke it.
Thank you.
Would you like to cry now? I feel like no one's really cried this season, and I'm really yearning. I gained power off of your tears, so if someone would like to cry, do you want to cry over that squash? No?
One time after Gail sat in a chair, the chair told me it will remember being squashed like that for the rest of its life. I love this
Bailey?
episode.
Bailey, what about you? And she's like, I had fun today.
Yet there was such a fascinating layer of flavoring in your dish, a real intensity in the squash. And then there were these beautiful smoky and cooling notes in the labneh. It was like the dish I haven't really ever seen before. No one saw it because you ate it so quickly, Gail.
Yeah, the polenta was fantastic. Crispy, not greasy, agrodolce. Whoa, aggressive, but I liked it. It almost murdered the French lady who was here. She almost died, but I liked that too. That was fun. So it's the richness from the squash. Now, was it the best squash that Antonio ever tasted? No. But, you tried. And it was good. Tasty, interesting, beautifully executed. Nice. Good. Whoa.
We did get an email from Jen Zuccherini who says, wasn't my favorite squash either. So 0 for 2. 0 for 2 with the best squash ever. That's okay.
The winner today gave us a delicious dish, which really connected to the season, Punky Brewster. Congratulations. I love your work.
So Shuai is saying how, oh my God, it's his first solo win, and it's so personal to him. It was a very proud moment being Chinese. So Kristen's like, okay, well, you can step to the side. And Tristan, Lana, Vinny, and Caesar step forward. You four had just terrible dishes. We're embarrassed that you cooked such things for such wonderful chefs for us. I don't know why you're in this competition. And the one consomme that I did have from any of you sucked. All right, so tell us, how did today go for you?
And Tristan starts, and Kristen's like, so the potato and the fish ratio, was that equal? You're learning, kid. You're learning. Now just start it with, did you mean?
Did you mean to have such a terrible ratio of fish to potato?
And he's like, oh, I wanted more veg side and the fish to just barely be there. And Tom's like, well, I got news for you. The potatoes were completely bland. What are you, TV guide reviewing Gail's first season?
Tristan says, I tried everything together at the time, so the potatoes seem seasoned to me. And Antonio's like, well, I appreciate the sustainability, but I feel like when you do too much on one plate and there's 3 sauces with the other oil, it just gets very confusing.
Yeah, sort of like Gail's choices at TJ Maxx. Sorry.
I wanted to honor her other favorite stores.
Lana, when you cut all the garnishes in Kristen again, when you cut all the garnishes the same size as the Spätzle, was that for a reason? Or I'm just trying to.
You really need to work on your sentence construction, Kristen. Let me try. Did you mean to cut all your garnishes the same size as the Spätzle? There's only one right answer. No.
And she's like, well, I mean, I guess I was hoping that you'd kind of get a bite of everything. And Gail's like, well, because you cut everything to the same size, it was very hard to differentiate texturally between everything. Is this a squash? Is it a piece of corn? I don't know. Is it a piece of bread? I mean, I really don't know. I have no idea. Very difficult to differentiate foods cut the same size.
Gail looked more confused than the time I gave her a grab bag of Mounds and Almond Joys. She didn't know which one was which after a while. Put too many in the mouth, it just all tastes the same.
Well, I liked where you were going there. Okay. Felt very fall. Okay. But the Spätzle was a little on the soft side, and it just disappeared. Where's the Spätzle? Spätzle? Hello? 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 I mean, whoa. It was like David Blaine there. 1 minute there's a Spätzle. Next minute there's a top hat. Spätzle's in there. Puts the top hat on. His head's not covered with it. Where'd the Spätzle go? Where is it?
Yeah, sort of like Tarzan's career after this Mission Impossible movie runs its course. Am I right? Sorry. That's right. You got it straight, Tarzan. I'm not afraid.
Hey, everybody, I have one question. Do you think that Tarzan knows Tom Cruise? Just kidding.
Hey, Tarzan, I'm hanging out with the real Tarzan up here in heaven, and he said, stop using my name. I have a legacy, you know.
So Gail's like, Vinny, what happened with the radish?
Some of us didn't get radish, and some of us are not happy about it. He's like, well, it was just a timing thing. I mean, I just boiled down, and I guess I missed a few of the plates. Wow. So you're saying that the little piece of radish that you stamped out that you could have done, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes prior, you just left out for the last second and couldn't get it on the plate? I want my radish, Vinny.
And Gail's like, so did you taste the consomme on its own, radish robber? And he's like, well, I tasted it afterwards and it was seasoned. I mean, it was definitely there. Look, when someone's asking you a question to inform you that you sucked, don't say you did it on purpose. He's like, yeah, it was delicious. You think it sucked? It was amazing. It's my best work.
Kristen's like, it was rich and heavily seasoned, and it overtook everything else. You took the thing I love most in life, a consomme, and you ruined it for me. You will pay. You will pay dearly.
Yeah, the lamb was too punched up. I mean, stop punching lamb. Can we just let lamb live their lives? Don't they have to go through enough? Why are we punching lambs? Stop punching lambs.
Scrap lamb. Don't forget that part. Scrap lamb.
Scrap lamb consomme.
Elvis called. He said, I would never make a sandwich out of that. So, so Tom's like,
I tried feeding Elvis a peanut butter, banana, and scrap lamb consomme sandwich, and he passed away again.
He went to other heaven. So then Tom was like, I mean, this is just a dish that anyone can make. Anyone can make scrap lamb. I mean, anyone could throw some peas and some scrap lamb into a bowl and you make it. I mean, I know you have a point of view. I'm just not seeing the season. I'm not seeing you. What's your season? What's your point of view? How much scrap lamb do you need to put into something? I just don't get it.
So now Cesar, I was excited to cook summer because it reminded me of my garden. I have a garden. And like the ingredients I put on the plate, that's something I grow. Yeah, so I know it goes well together. I grow it myself. Not in this garden, my other garden. So maybe it'll taste different. On my garden, it tastes good. I hope it tastes good on the same foreign garden.
Gail's like, let me try this question again just with you. I fucking hate Padma, but sometimes she has a good way of getting to the bottom of things. So, did you taste the corn itself?
He's like, yeah. And she goes, was it sweet? And he goes, yeah, a little. She's like, no one is understanding how sweet corn needs to be.
Do you understand the concept of sweet? What are things that taste sweet to you? Cardboard, rocks, paper,
fingernails? Come on.
He's like, yes, yes, and yes. Well, there's the problem.
You did not rob me of a radish today, so for that, I thank you.
Thank you for at least providing me as much corn as everyone else, unlike some people with their radishes.
Kristen is like, so the ratio of corn to the ground cherries to the yellow peppers, what was that? Were they all equal? Did you mean the inequality of the... Come on, Kristen.
Oh my God. I feel like whatever character Edward James almost played in Stand and Deliver, I'm just teaching these people over and over again. So
they also want to know why he filled the tomatoes. And he's like, I thought a creaminess was good. Tom's like, well, I don't think you need that. Because, that nut, it just gets in the way of those fresh flavors. Oh, nuts. Am I right? God, nuts always ruining fresh flavors. All these summer ingredients didn't shine the way they normally should without nuts.
By the way, here's an idea. If you want to add creaminess to your corn salad, how about you add cheese? Why are you adding pistachio cream? Add a little feta, add a little something, a bright cheese, a briny, whatever. It's acting like they don't have access to cheese. You can do cheese. It's okay. It's not going to end the world. You know what?
Yeah.
So wrong you use cheese? Huh?
So now they have to go back to the stew room, and the judges have to decide. So they are taking into account the quick fires. So between coming out first on the quick fire, he didn't have a bad dish, Cesar. So he's probably safe. So that means Tristan, Lana, or Vinny is out.
Yeah. So Gail's like, Lana's dish, I think it ate totally one note, okay? It was like Padma trying to sing a song, one note. Hey, that's not fair. They told me to only use one note in glitter. That's not nice, Gail. I don't like how she did that to me.
That's pretty strong for someone who literally ate one note when she swallowed a didgeridoo whole.
Wow. It's the only instrument that makes my noise. Wow. Wow.
Hey,
wow,
everybody,
wow, wow,
here's the note that Gail ate.
So Kristen's like, all this other stuff was happening inside, and you couldn't taste any of it at all. And Gail goes, that was my problem. Her dish felt lackluster, almost as lackluster as a dumpling without a radish. But I think of the three, Lana's made the most sense for her season. And so they're like, okay, Lana's safe. So now it's really coming down to Vinny and Tristan. At this point, there's no way they're going to ever eliminate Tristan ahead of Vinny. It just won't happen.
Well, I don't know. I wasn't sure because they like to keep it spicy in here. We all thought Katiana was going to come back, and Cesar came back instead. So I was like, oh my God, maybe they're going to make it really crazy and get rid of Tristan. But they didn't. Tom's like, for me, Vinny's fish didn't feel like spring. What? And there was a couple of peas thrown in there. Hand-sucked peas. Okay, but still.
Yeah. The consomme should have just been lighter. It should have been a light consomme. But it was the lamb. It was really lammy. Super lammy. Lammy. Padma, you have a joke about that?
Consomme, lamb scrap consomme. That's all I have to say about that.
Lammy consomme. That's like, that's like Rock Hudson and Joan Arc making soup together in heaven. Shut up, Lammy consomme. Oh God,
I
wasn't ready for that.
Just kill me again. So Kristen's like, Vinny's very good at taking the challenge and fitting a story into it, even though today we really didn't get any kind of story. But I did hear he talked about a panda one time. So...
Yeah, he likes, I know he got caught in the middle somewhere. He was like, okay, sustainability, so I'm going to add lamb bones as opposed to just think, did he even think that the consomme needed it? It's just an innocent consomme. A consomme does not need lamb bones. How could he do this to the consomme? So they're torn between this consomme and Tristan's underseasoned potato. And Antonio's really had a real bone to pick with that salty sauce, because I don't think anyone else really complained about the sauce but him. He's like, he used such a salty roe. Is anyone else picking up on this? It was such a salty sauce.
It was rich and heavy enough for Padma to marry it. All it needed was about 50 years more in age. So in this challenge, go ahead.
It was rich and heavy enough for Gail to, wait a second. Did you use that against me first?
Wow, Gail, that was really mean. I really don't like judges criticizing each other like that. Wow, Gail, really mean. Horrible, Gail. Horrible thing to do.
Yeah, go too far, Gail. We don't stand for those kind of jokes on this show.
So let's talk about the quickfire. Okay, let's talk about that. Or as I call it, whatever they say to my son every time he tries to get a job. Quick fire. So Kristen's like, Vinny had a foie gras. He had a goat cheese uncrusted sandwich. I mean, what was that?
Why would you put foie gras and goat cheese together? That's ridiculous. That's worse than a scrap lamb in a soup.
Yeah, that was pretty weird. And Kristen brings up Tristan. She's like, yeah, Tristan made a hot dog soup with a croissant in it. So I don't know that that's much better.
Well, it's official, everyone. Our show has jumped the shark. These descriptions have
We're
totally
canceling our own show right now in the judging. So Kristen's like, I mean, they're all pretty much equal right now, which means they suck. So do we have the answer? Who do we hate the most? Okay. Who has run out of panda stories? Okay, let's bring it back in.
So, the chefs. 3 of you have done some great work all season long. Unfortunately, you decided to stop cooking well when Punky showed up. That's not nice. But this is the point of the company. Yeah, go on.
Go ahead.
Vinny.
Sorry, I thought you were done there.
No, I know. I sort of sounded like I was finishing, and then I surprised. I kept on going. Kind of like Gail at a cafeteria.
Some chefs are good. Some chefs are bad, like you. Some chefs succeed. Some chefs fail, like you guys today. Some chefs are, yes, win. No, yes, happy. And some chefs are no, mad. Vinny, get out. Get out. Get out. Kristen, Padma.
Vinny, now that you're off the show, I hope you can do something with your winnings. Maybe take a trip to the Netherlands. That way you can have some Holland days. Some days in Holland.
And Vinny's like, well, at least I got to show people who I am, but I don't really think I got to show my full representation of food I could make. I'm like, yes, you did. Hollandaise, nomad. Go. Just go.
Brothers Pizza, Katiana's garnish. That's it. That was what you showed us.
Goodbye.
Well, Vinny, I thought he was going to make it into the finals, but he just could not get it together. So, yeah, now we're getting down to it. And Lana Bailey, Tristan, Massimo, and Cesar. So we'll see what happens in Calgary. Until then, thanks everyone for being here, and we will catch you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
It's always a party on Allison Block.
Our way is the Amber way.
It's the Foster and the Furious. It's Amanda Foster.
She can run my country. It's Angie McGovern.
It's always automatic with Ashley Auto. Put your hands together for Carly Clapp.
Get on the right foot with Chrissy Offit.
She's not just a Sheila, she's a Daniela. Etchels.
We never miss her call. It's Diane Call.
Aaron McNicholas. She don't miss no trickolas.
Hava Nagila Weber.
You'll never hide from Heidi Eleanor Jones.
I go, you go, we all go for Hugo.
Jamie. She has no last namey.
She's our kind of mess. It's Jennifer Messer.
Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
She's our favorite streamer, Caroline Peacock.
Kristen the Piston Anderson. Get a bee in your bonnet with Lacey B.
Bringing the funk, it's Leslie Plunkett.
She gets an A from us. It's Lindsay D. Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino. Fresh as a daisy, it's Maisie McHenry. We love her on the rocks. It's Melissa Cox. Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
This is Living with Michelle Vivian.
I love ya, Olivia Williamson. Tastier than Flanderson, it's Rachel Manderson.
She sure is swell. It's Raquel.
Yes, we canna, it's Savannah.
Cast a spell with Shannon Spellman.
Let's share with Sharon Eldridge.
The Bay Area Betches.
And our super premium sponsors. She's VVIP, it's Amanda V. Can't lose when you're with Amy Baldwin.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides. Let's go into the woods with Guy Tubbs.
Who, what, why, where, and Gwen Pentland.
It's our queen. It's Queen Laifah.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall.
Know your worth with Jason Kurth.
Hail the Cork Master, the Master of the Cork, Jennifer Corcoran. We got our wish, it's Jen Plish. She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch. She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo.
She gets an A, it's Kelly B.
We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley. We're ride or die for Lisa Ryder Barron. She's a whiz, it's Liz Sarthy. Always killing it, it's Lola Alkalani.
The incredible edible Matthews sisters. She eases our woes, it's Melissa St. Rose. We're on the floor with Molly Dorset. There's a chance of meatballs, it's Rebecca Cloud.
She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke. Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
It's always a good time when you're wasting time with Bravo. She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.